Hi, everyone. I'm so excited that I get to speak to you all today. I want to start by thanking Kyle and the region for inviting me for this opportunity. I'm really excited to actually be speaking on this topic over the last week and the rest of the week. I've been doing service events with customers, and I've seen probably 20, I'll have 30 by the end of the week customers. So in writing this talk, I've actually been having to hone my own skills and work on how I can better perform to my customers. So I'm glad that I got this opportunity. So let me start off by just saying, and I apologize, I know I'm going to look at my notes a lot, so sorry I'm not staring at you all today, but I want to start by saying that selling to Cutco owners is actually like the best. I don't know about all of you, but when I was brand new, I was making phone calls, and if someone on the phone said, "Oh man, I already have Cutco," my heart would kind of drop a little bit because I would think like, "Oh, there's no way they're going to buy any Cutco. They already have the product." And I love when they're like, "I have the full set." And my mind has dramatically changed since then. Now when I hear people say they own Cutco, I get excited because I know how easy my job is going to be for a few reasons. For starters, they already know how good Cutco is. They probably know better than you do. A lot of you haven't had a chance to cook a lot, or you're in a dorm, and a lot of these customers have had it for 5, 10, 20, 70 years, and they're using it every single day. And so they know it's amazing stuff. Also, they already know it's expensive. They probably went through a roller coaster of emotions of buying Cutco of, "Oh man, we really need new knives. This is a great product. We love it, but this is really expensive. Should we be spending money on this? Do we have it in the budget?" Back up to like, we are so excited that we bought it. So they've already gone through the purchasing process, and it's going to be a lot easier for you in the closing process because of that. Also, we have over 150 Cutco items, so I probably have a fraction of what we actually own. I love when people come up to the booth and they're like, "I already have the full set." And I was like, "Oh, this one?" And they point to actually the Homemaker Set. And so for me, it's like, "Oh, sweet. This is a great start from what they already have." Today, I want to lay the groundwork for working with people who already own Cutco, and I have 5 main keys and some smaller tips for along the way. So I hope you guys are ready to write. My first tip for you is to rebuild the value in Cutco. Now, I know I just mentioned that they already own the product, they love the product, they know how great it is, but it's very important that you don't miss reestablishing building value. If you remember in training, there's like the price and the value, and your job is to make the value higher than the price so that the answer is a yes when you're closing. And it took me a little while at the booth to realize this because so many people came up with a lot of excitement and energy, and then they haven't bought Cutco in 20 years. They didn't realize it's more expensive, and they kind of forgot how much they paid. And so at the end, it made closing more difficult for me. So again, you want to rebuild value and rebuild why Cutco is so expensive. So I always start by asking them questions about their product, because customers are better at selling themselves on it than you are, because they're not the salesperson. They'll believe themselves when they say it more. So I would have a notepad next to you, by the way, to write notes about this. But hey, Mrs. Jones, how long have you had your Cutco? "Oh, awesome, 20 years. And what do you love about it?" "Oh, you love the guarantee. You love that it's dishwasher safe." "Awesome. Just out of curiosity, did you buy it at like a trade show, or did you buy it from a college kid like me?" "College kid?" "Oh, that's actually how I got started." So we really love when people support the college kids. Thank you so much. "Do you mind showing me what you have?" And I know a lot of you are working virtually, so have Mrs. Jones grab everything they own and write it down. "And what are your favorites?" The more they talk about how great it is, the more they're selling themselves. "And what do you use your knives for?" And I always make notes on things that might open their eyes to new pieces. So if they're like, "Oh, I love this chef knife for like frozen food," we all know that it's not great for that. So I would write it down. Or if they're like, "Oh yeah, my paring knife for like chopping," write these things down so you can give some notes in the end. And then have them show you the knives and see if they need any factory love. And if you're in person, obviously, and if you've been trained on sharpening, you can just do it right there, or help them send them in. So look if the teeth are really worn down or if they're jagged. If you notice like a big chip or if something's melted, definitely take note of that. And then you want to remind them of how great the guarantee is and how easy it is to mail them in. And you can obviously just find the address online or in the Blue Book. But tell them that the guarantee covers the factory service, that Cutco's going to make it brand new or replace anything they can't fix. They're going to need Band-Aids all over again. And it's the best process that we have. What I wouldn't do is tell them that they can have someone come out to their house and sharpen their knives. And that's for a couple of reasons. First of all, they're going to send a CSP like me, and we're just going to sell to your customers. And I don't think you want us to do that. The other thing is, we don't want to guarantee that we can come to someone's house if there's no one in the area, because then they just feel like they've been like undersold. So let them know about how amazing the factory service is. And when you go through this part with them, now you're just providing service and you're not just a salesperson anymore. So you're more on their side, which is great. So my second tip for you is to start big and show every package. So Mrs. Jones, a lot of people think that we're just a knife company. We're kind of trying to rebrand ourselves as a kitchen company. We sell everything in the kitchen that doesn't have a plug-in. So I open up or I go through the slide that has the Cutco kitchen. So Mrs. Jones, as you can see, we actually have 3 bigger knife sets or 2 bigger knife sets if they have a homemaker, which is great. We also sell pots and pans. I open to the full pots and pans page and I ask, hey, are you in the market for new pots and pans? If they are, just make a note of it. If not, obviously go to the next thing. How about forks and spoons? Could you see yourself replacing your forks and spoons in the next 1 to 5 years? And then the back page of the kitchen accessory or the Cutco kitchen page has the clean out the drawer set is what I call it. So these are all of the things in the kitchen that we buy and use all the time because they're constantly breaking. Like I'm sure you have a couple peelers or can openers. Cutco just came out with one good one of everything so you can have a clean drawer. We also have a full line of sporting knives and outdoor accessories. So make a note. It's good for you to show every package to every customer every time. Even if you don't know all the details on the cookware or flatware, definitely still show it because 1, people sometimes just buy stuff because they need it or they really like the product. And 2, you can always call and ask your manager for help on selling the products. And also, if you want to learn about selling cookware and flatware, there's 2 really good talks on Vector Connect. Seth Kinzer has a good one on cookware, and Mike Dawood has a good one on flatware. Another thing, definitely learn your names and uses. Learn what each knife is good for, but also what they're not good for. So for example, the paring knife is great for small jobs up in the air like peeling, but it's not good for on the cutting board. Or the chef knife, it might be your biggest knife. So I know people love using it for watermelon or frozen foods, but honestly it's a really delicate blade. So it's for things like vegetables, onions, peppers, celery, and carrots. So by knowing the names and uses, now you can recommend the pieces based on the notes you had earlier and make a note if they're using it wrong. But don't blame or correct a customer. Don't be like, oh my God, Miss Jones, you cannot use the chef knife for frozen food. Are you crazy? It's going to break it. Instead, say, hey, Miss Jones, I know you said you use the chef knife for frozen food, but honestly, it's best for like peppers and carrots. If you want a knife for frozen food, I can actually recommend 2 later on for you. Or you can say which 2 they are, like a Hardy slicer or a cleaver. And don't shy away from starting with the ultimate set. Even as a college kid, I know your mind is like, oh my gosh, no one needs that many pieces. But Cutco owners cook every day, especially if they have kids. So they could use over a lifetime every single piece. So start with the ultimate and try not to get excited about just 1 or 2 pieces over the rest. Because guess what? They're going to end up buying just like a cheese knife. And that's not exciting. Because it doesn't cut everything. So I'm going to show you guys my Cutco upgrade that I go through. And there is a script for this. If you don't have a script, you can obviously ask your division manager or the fair and show coordinator. Or you can send me an email. If someone could write my email in the chat, that would be great. But it's sturner.cutco@gmail.com. So I'm just going to breeze through it pretty quickly here. So Mrs. Jones, since you already own Cutco, it doesn't make sense for me to like show you the full set. So most people either upgrade to their favorite set or they make a wish list. Now the Homemaker set that you have, it's actually what most people start with because we came out with in 1949. It was our only set at the time, and it still has all the basic pieces. But over the last 70 years, I'm sure you'd agree that cooking has changed quite a bit. And people kept writing into Cutco and asking us to make new products based on their needs that they have now. So for example, the paring knife. Everyone loves the paring knife. It's great for small jobs when you're peeling or cutting the tops off strawberries, but it's kind of small. So if you're trying to cut a whole apple, it's not good for that. So that's why we came out with the 4-inch paring knife. And at this point, most people are like, oh my gosh, that would be nice to have. So you want to start getting the nods at the beginning. And kind of make notes of that because you can tell what they like through their interactions. Next, everyone loves a good chef knife. Now, a lot of your customers are going to have like a 9-inch chef knife. So I always say they don't like using a sword every day. That's why we came out with the mini chopper, the 5-inch Santoku, which is one of my most commonly used pieces. Now, have you seen our cheese knife yet? Remember, don't oversell this piece. This one was designed for cheese, but we discovered that's one of our sharpest blades, and because of the holes, it's great for anything that's really soft or starchy or sticky. And if you're in person, you can use it to cut a potato. The next one's our boning knife. I know if you go to a store and buy a set of knives, most sets come with the boning knife, but it's in our complete set here. I know most of our customers said that they were always using the trimmer to trim the fat off of meats, but what we found over the years is that the double Z edge kind of drags through raw meat. It's really just good for cooked meat. So that's when we came out with the boning knife, and we found that a side-by-side comparison, the boning knife went 13 times faster than the trimmer. So this one is obviously good for cutting up chicken breasts, trimming fats off meats, or cutting silver skin off of meat. The next one in the set is actually one of my personal favorites. I'm a big like squash and sweet potato eater. So I call this one the Midwest knife, the Hardy Slicer, because it's great for those heavy duty stuff like sweet potatoes and squash. But my customers love it for grilling. They can cut their tri-tips, they can cut ribs without like ripping it off the bones. It's also good for semi-frozen foods. I know my mom, she'll buy like bulk hamburger or sausage. And this one you can like cut through just a chunk of it at a time and put it back in the freezer. So it's pretty awesome. The next one we have is the bird's beak, the funny looking one. Everyone always tells me they can't have too many paring knives. This one's just another great addition to the set. It's curved, so it's really good for like cutting just the tip off the strawberry or taking the tops off of peppers or jalapenos. It also peels really great around a round fruit or a vegetable. And because of the curve, if you use it on cutting boards, it's not going to dull as quickly because only the tip is touching. So it's awesome. Then we have the hidden gem of the set, the salmon knife. And I'll tell you, Ms. Jones, everyone sees this thing in the catalog or on the website, and they're like, who needs a knife for salmon? I'm never going to buy that thing. But let me tell you, this is the best knife for watermelon. And I know you don't believe me when I say that. So I actually made a video, and I show them the video that I have of it going through the watermelon and how it bends off the rind. And if you probably don't have a video yourself, so you can go to YouTube, and Jason Jeffrey made one. It's like the Jason Jeffrey thin slicer is what he calls it, or you can look up salmon knife, and you can go through that video of how awesome this is. But I just let them know it's not just good for watermelon, it's also good for thinly shaving meats, anything boneless, and also for pineapple. Now, the Veggie Knife is another favorite for me, and I'm going to be honest, Ms. Jones, I was using my Petite Santoku for everything. It was my favorite little chopper until I had to send it back to the factory for sharpening, so I ended up using my Veggie Knife, which was still practically razor sharp, and I think I have a new favorite chopping knife. This thing is nice and big, so I have more leverage, so when I'm cutting, like, big bell peppers, huge potatoes, squash, I can use both hands to get through the squash as well. I can use it for squishing garlic because it has a lot of surface area. I can slide through things. I can rock and chop with both hands, and it has a lot of surface area. So I can squish or scoop up my food and move it to the frying pan. It's a great one. It's also great because it's not as heavy as the cleaver, which is the last one. This is the end all be all. There's nothing this thing can't get through. Plus, who doesn't want a £1.50 of American-made steel and a brand new security system for their home? So that's the upgrade. Oh, I skipped part, sorry. The upgrade also comes with the block. There is also 4 more spots for table knives because I'm sure you never have enough of those. They're always dirty. And the block also has a spot for the scissors. And I know in the picture it looks absolutely massive, but the floor print of the block is a sheet of paper. So it actually can fit pretty well in most counters. I have a galley kitchen and it fits in my kitchen. So from the upgrade is where we move into step 4, where we step 3, we create a wish list. Create a wish list. So, Mrs. Jones, what I like to do with each customer is create a wish list. And this isn't necessarily a list of everything that you're going to buy today, but it's just a list of things you like. As your Cutco rep, I like to take notes on these things so that way we remember what we talked about. So, I know you mentioned you'd love those initial knives, so I can go ahead and write down the upgrade for you, okay? And if they have any objections at that point, just write down something else. But most people are like, okay, write down the upgrade. And earlier you mentioned that you really like the cookware or the flatware or the garden tools. So write down anything they mentioned earlier as well. And what about the clean out the drawer accessories? Could you use some new peelers, ice cream scoops, and show them the picture? Maybe they want the whole entertainer pack. Write all those pieces down. At this point, they're kind of going to shop through the book or through the website, but I just give them some keys. So who do you know that hunts? Who do you know that fishes? Do we have any reason to get them a gift? Do they deserve something for Christmas? And who do you know is getting married in the next 6 to 12 months? A lot of people don't think about these things, so we just want to give them a lot of thought joggers. So now step 4 is to drop down and close on the right package. This is just like a normal Cutco demo where you start with the set and you keep going down all the way to one piece. But a lot of reps kind of forget that because this is a Cutco owner and they kind of do all or nothing or all or one piece. So remember to have a drop down package progression from the top to the bottom. So first thing you're going to do is start by showing them the price of the entire wish list. And maybe they say yes to that. So I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper. I write the retail price, Sarah's price, so like with the discount I'm going to give them, and then the 5 piece or the 5 pay. And I write down and show them so they can see it. If I show them the price of the entire wish list, if I did my job the right way, it's probably going to be a very big number and they might say yes, like I said, but probably they're going to say no to part of it. And just remember that's kind of normal. If it's thousands of dollars, that's not okay for everyone's budget. But that doesn't mean they're saying no to purchasing today. That means they're saying no to buying the full wish list. So drop down from there. So Mrs. Jones, which of these packages are you least excited about today? And maybe they say cookware. So I'll just cross cookware off for today. And then I'll go through writing the retail price and recreate a discount for them and a 5 pay. As you're going through this package progression, a lot of customers are going to ask you, like, can I just buy individually? And obviously they can, but you don't want to just go, oh yeah, which ones do you want? So I say, yes, you for sure can buy individually, but the 5-piece special is a great deal. Would you mind if I at least showed you that really quickly? And get their permission, and then they're like, oh yeah, you can show me. And then my last tip for you is to ask for recommendations for other Cutco owners. A lot of people, when they're doing recommendations, they kind of skip over these people because they're like, oh, they already have Cutco, why would I show them? So always ask, like, who do you know who owns Cutco? It's such a simple, easy thing to add in. And remember, you want to see these people because they're the easiest to sell to. They're also the easiest to book because if they're like, oh, I already have Cutco on the phone, or you can say, so-and-so said you already have Cutco, which is great because it's a quicker presentation for me and you. I don't have to go through everything with you. And then they'll book with you. So those are my 5 tips. I am really excited to see how implementing it goes for all of you. And more importantly, I'm really excited to meet all of you someday. So have a great weekend, everyone.